What if Harry had been in Slytherin? The tale of Harry Potter has stood as a towering figure atop the magical world of witchcraft and wizardry, captivating fans of the fantasy genre for over 2 decades. It was an excellent story, I think we can all agree, and its impact still remains unmatched. And as with other stories of a similarly excellent nature, they offer us the exciting opportunities to dig deeper and explore interesting hypotheticals and what-if scenarios. At the heart of the Harry Potter saga is his strategic placement in Gryffindor, a house celebrated for its bravery and valor. But what if the Sorting Hat had chosen differently? Today, we delve into a fascinating alternate reality. What if Harry Potter had been sorted into Slytherin, the house known for producing more dark wizards than any other? This video explores how such a fundamental shift could have altered the story's narrative arc, character dynamics, and overarching themes. But before we continue, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps our channel a lot and helps support us to make more quality content. Now back to our video. I personally believe that the entire course of the Harry Potter series would have drastically changed with Harry in Slytherin, a house marked by its cunning, ambition, and its troubling ties to dark magic. We begin at that pivotal moment in the original series, with the Sorting Hat atop his head. Harry fearfully pleads, "Not Slytherin. Not Slytherin," as the Sorting Hat considers where to place our young wizard, ultimately settling on his request and placing him in Gryffindor. However, in the moments before his fate is pronounced, the Hat informs Harry he could be great in Slytherin, a point it reiterated in Dumbledore's office in Harry's second year. And I can't help but agree with the old Hat. Tracing through the original chain of events, we can clearly see many disasters which could have been averted or wholly avoided had Harry not succumbed to bias and allowed the Hat to choose freely. The most crucial of these changes would have been his tense relationship with the potion's master Severus Snape. As his head of house and with Harry under his direct supervision, I believe this would have created an environment within which Snape could work out or resolve much of the inherent hatred he felt towards Harry. Recognizing more of Lily, his mother and Snape's only true friend, whom he had spent many years simping over, rather than James, his childhood tormentor. On a side note, I can see why Snape was drawn to the dark arts. After a troubled childhood and all that bullying at the hands of James Potter and his friends. He has the origin story of most diabolical school shooters, but I digress. I expect he would eventually tire of kicking Harry, metaphorically speaking, or begin to respect Harry's character and perseverance, or perhaps the thought of being a better mentor to Harry than his own father could have been would be enough of a final victory over James Potter, enough to finally bury the hatchet. As a result of Snape's tutelage and being in Slytherin House, we'd see significant improvements in Harry's academic performance and magical training. Slytherin's environment, emphasizing cunning and ambition, would likely boost Harry's latent talents in a way Gryffindor could not. And having a wizard as formidable as Snape as his mentor and with higher expectations than McGonagall, Harry's magical training could have accelerated, reaching new heights. It could also be argued that, like the domino effect, the series of events which led to the opening of the Chamber of Secrets, Sirius's escape from Azkaban, Voldemort's return, and Cedric's death would not have come to pass had Harry joined Slytherin House and been in closer proximity to Snape. Having a closer eye on the man he originally suspected of trying to steal the stone and eventually working with Voldemort may have helped alleviate some of his suspicion around Snape in Harry's first year. In addition, we actually find in the book that there was really no need for Harry to try to stop Quirrell from acquiring the Philosopher's Stone, as Dumbledore's enchantments were designed to thwart such attempts. The preventative measures and security around the stone would likely have delayed Voldemort and Quirrell long enough for Dumbledore's eventual return, leading to a direct and very satisfying confrontation with Quirrell and the weakened Voldemort. Alternatively, had Quirrell escaped, Dumbledore would likely have taken up the task of hunting him down after piecing everything together. Thus, It's entirely plausible that Harry's interference inadvertently facilitated Voldemort's escape before Dumbledore could intervene. Moreover, imagine if Harry had been sorted into Slytherin and eventually forged a friendship with Draco Malfoy, overcoming their initial disdain for each other over time. This new alliance could have significantly altered the trajectory of several key events. For example, it is entirely plausible and likely Lucius Malfoy would not have had the opportunity to slip Tom Riddle's diary into Ginny's belongings in Flourish and Blots, preventing the opening of the Chamber of Secrets in Harry's second year. Unfortunately, this chain of events would have likely resulted in Dobby not being freed and therefore eventually dying in servitude to the Malfoys. Oh well. The greater good and all that. Moving on to Harry's third year, I can confidently say I believe the consequential events leading to Sirius Black's escape and the subsequent return of Voldemort would have been avoided. That is assuming Dumbledore didn't already manage to destroy the active part of Voldemort's soul attached to Quirrell. After all, Sirius himself stated, when reading the article in the Daily Prophet, his immediate concern was Peter Pettigrew being in close proximity to Harry in the Gryffindor dormitory, and this was the deciding factor in his escape. Harry not being in Gryffindor would have meant Sirius would not have felt the need to escape, and there would have been no weakened living Voldemort for Pettigrew to return to because it had already been destroyed by Dumbledore. And so, with no Voldemort returning at the start of the Goblet of Fire, Harry would not have become a Triwizard champion. Cedric Diggory, if he had still participated, might have faced the dragons and other dangers without Harry's help, altering his fate though the inherent risks of the tournament, which still remained. Harry would most likely not have ended up in a toxic relationship with Cho Chang, benefiting his mental health greatly throughout his remaining years at Hogwarts. It is worth noting there is still the wild card, which was Barty Crouch Jr., who had been smuggled out of Azkaban prison by his father and kept under control using the Imperious Curse, but had begun to gradually resist. Originally, his actions were masterminded by Voldemort to ensure Harry's participation in the tournament and ultimately his demise. Without his master, the damage he could cause would be minimal. Yeah, he might kill some innocent people, but he'd eventually be apprehended or killed after he'd managed to escape his father's control.
He will never again harm another innocent man, woman, or child. He died like a dog.
That is assuming he even managed to escape of his own accord, because let's not forget, it was Voldemort who orchestrated the freeing of Crouch Jr. after he'd learned he was still alive and imprisoned by his father from Bertha Jorkins. So in essence, we can conclude that Harry being in Slytherin would have made Voldemort's rise to power far less likely. Now, moving on to Harry's friend circle at school, which is pivotal to his development and the series' narrative. As we know, in Gryffindor, Harry quickly formed a strong bond with Weasley and Granger, and this friend circle I personally believe was rather toxic. When we take a deeper look at the dynamic, Granger was clearly on the spectrum and Ron was nothing more than dead weight during the entire series. But, hey, I'll save that for another video. In Slytherin, Harry would likely align with Draco Malfoy, who in the original storyline shifts between antagonist and complex character grappling with his family's dark legacy. After a rough start with the divisive character, they'd eventually make their peace as the two dominant names in Slytherin House. This shift could lead to Harry grappling with a peer group that encourages cunning and self-preservation over loyalty and bravery. It would turn a significant enemy throughout the series into a close ally and friend. The dynamics within such a friendship could expose Harry to the more nuanced aspects of ambition and power, possibly making his path more introspective and morally ambiguous, with the potential of going horribly wrong, like it did for Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars franchise, being pulled in opposing directions of the light and dark side. Ideally, it would allow for a bridging of the divide between Slytherin and the other houses, bringing eventual balance to the school. Or he could just fall to the dark side. Who knows? Harry and Draco's partnership would also reshape daily interactions and adventures at Hogwarts. Imagine the unlikely pair sneaking around the castle under the cover of Harry's invisibility cloak, though without the aid of the Marauders' map, which might remain in the hands of the Weasleys. Their exploits could range from innocent fuckery to more serious endeavors, possibly involving secret missions or unsanctioned investigations into the darker corners of the school. It's also worth noting, with Lucius Malfoy as a governor of Hogwarts and being extremely influential in the Ministry, and with Harry being close friends with Draco, Harry would likely experience a layer of protection and political influence previously unavailable to him at Hogwarts and perhaps beyond. Now, regarding summer holidays, we would see a seasonal shift from the Burrow to Malfoy Manor. This shift would not only affect his personal comfort and sense of security, but also expose him to the opulence and the underlying tensions of the Malfoy household. Summers at the manor would offer Harry insights into the pure-blood ideology and the inner workings of families allied closely with Voldemort, providing a richer, more nuanced understanding of his enemies. He may also meet Dobby sooner than originally expected and under different circumstances. In conclusion, sorting Harry into Slytherin would necessitate a complete revaluation of our hero's identity and moral compass. The Slytherin's traits of ambition, cunning, and resourcefulness could accentuate aspects of Harry's character that are less explored in the original series, allowing for the development and honing of his natural leadership skills and quick thinking. Harry Potter's sorting into Slytherin doesn't just change the narrative's surface elements, it profoundly impacts the series' thematic core and character arcs. This alternate sorting would explore themes of identity, moral ambiguity, and the complex interplay between a person's nature and their choices. It would challenge the binary good versus evil narrative and delve deeper into the gray areas of character and motivation. I believe this instance, it's perfectly valid to say taking the dark path was the easiest way to reach the light and was the essential direction for the greater good. Being closer to the dark would have prevented the return of Voldemort. And some final points before I close out this video. Firstly, there are many assumptions taken in this video, and I think the most important to our theory is that Snape wouldn't just murder Harry on day one. Secondly, it's cool, but also frightening to imagine maybe after several decades, centuries, or millennia, when the world had forgotten about the most evil wizard of all time, a muggle or careless wizard may stumble upon a Horcrux, becoming ensnared and under its dominion, leading to the affliction of Voldemort upon a world unprepared for war and death, without Dumbledore or the Order of the Phoenix. And with that thought, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure. If you enjoyed the journey and are eager for more wild fan fiction, don't forget to hit that like button, share with your fellow fans, and subscribe for more episodes. And if you're as enchanted by the idea of Middle-earth meeting Hogwarts as we are, make sure to check out our series exploring this magical crossover. Your support brings these worlds to life. Until next time, keep the fantasy alive.